Hello y'all and welcome to the quiz review video. We're going to go through three stations of the main topics that will be on your quiz. Follow along on the videos. Right now we're at station 1, so I'll go ahead and take that off. Station 1 is mean, median, mode, and range. Follow along to this part on the video. Then when you see this sign that says stop and pause the video and complete the practice below. The answer key for this practice will be on the board. Okay, so starting with mean. Mean just means we're working with this data set up here. Mean, the definition of mean is add all numbers and divide by the number of data points. If I can spell data right. Add all numbers and divide by the number of data points. So if I'm looking up here, I've got all these numbers listed. So I'm going to do 10 plus 39 plus 71 plus 39 plus 76 plus 38 plus 25 plus 4. All of those numbers divided by, sorry, I should have made these boxes a little bit wider, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, divided by 8 because there are 8 data points in this. And I create the fraction bar on my calculator and type this in exactly as I see it. I should get that the mean is equal to 37.75. Just be really careful here when you are typing this in your calculator to make sure that you get every single value, all of them divided by 8. Okay, next one that we are going to look at is the median. Our definition of median is we order numbers least to greatest and cross out until we reach the middle. Okay, so that is our definition. We have to put our numbers in order from least to greatest. That is probably the most important piece. Make sure your numbers are in order from least to greatest. Okay, I didn't leave you a ton of room here. I apologize for that. I'm going to do my median up here so I can order my numbers from least to greatest. Okay, so I'm going to start with 4. When I write down a number, I cross it off on my original data list so I make sure I don't repeat it. So 4, and then my next smallest number is 10, then 25, then 38, then 2 39s, 171, and a 76. Okay, then I go back and I say there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of data in this data set. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces in this data set as well. I just do that to double check that I have written down all my data points. Okay, then I cross off. I cross 1 from the left side. Crossing 1 from the left side, I balance that off with 1 from the right side. 1 from the left side, 1 from the right side, 1 from the left side, 1 from the right side. And notice that I'm left with 2 numbers in the middle. I cross through 3 on the left side, 3 on the right side. So I have 2 numbers that are dead center. I'm going to take these 2 numbers, 38 plus 39, and divide them by 2. We're essentially taking the mean of these 2 numbers. What's halfway between these 2 numbers? Okay, so 38 plus 39, that is 2 pieces of data. So 38 plus 39 divided by 2. If I pop that in my calculator, I should get 38.5. So the median of my data is 38.5. Okay, next thing I'm going to look at is mode. We've done most of the calculations we need to do here. Mode and range are a little bit more straightforward definitions. Mode is the value that occurs most often. I always think most and mode sound alike, so that's how I remember the definition. If I'm looking through my data set, I see that I had 2 39s. And I see that I had 2 39s. Since 39 is the only number repeated twice, 39 is the only number repeated twice, I know that is my mode. It's the one that occurs most often. So my mode is 39. Very last one is my range. Range is the largest value, subtract the smallest value. The largest value, subtract the smallest value. If I'm looking for my range, my largest value is 76. My smallest value is 4. 76 minus 4 will give me 72. So my range is 72. Okay, that is part 1 of station 1. So we're going to stop and pause here, stop and pause your video, and move on to the practice problems beneath. So moving on to these practice problems. Okay. Once you are finished with your practice problems, we are now on station 2. So we're going to go through this top part of station 2 together, and then you will pause and practice. So on station 2, we are looking at our frequency tables. When I'm looking at frequency tables, essentially what we're trying to do is organize data so that we can plot it into a histogram. For frequency tables, I always like to split my frequency table into 2 sections, one with tallies and one with the frequency. It helps me organize my data a little bit better. So I'll start with the tallies. I'm looking for anywhere I see the number 30. So the way that I'm looking for how many times I see each of these scores. So the way that I usually go through the data is I just go through the top row, middle row, last row, and I make a tally mark each time I see the number. So I see the number 60, I cross through it up here and give a tally mark down there. I cross through it so I don't accidentally double count it. So cross through 100, tally mark there, cross through 40, tally mark there, cross through 80, tally mark there, cross through 90, tally mark there, 60, 50, 70, and again, I just repeat the process until I've made sure that I've crossed through all my values. 80, 40, 30, 90, 50. It's probably very annoying to listen to. Just put me on mute for this until I'm done making my tallies, probably. Bunch of 30s at the end here, and last one. Okay, so once I've made my tallies, I go through and I just write my tallies as numbers. So I have 5 30s, 2 40s, 3 50s, 3 60s, 2 70s, 2 80s, 3 90s, and 4 100s. Okay? Now, to make sure that I've correctly transferred over my data, I always look for the total. Okay? So for the total, I know I have 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 times 3 pieces of data, which is 24. So I have 24 total pieces of data. If I have 24 total pieces of data, these numbers should add up to 24. And if I plug 5 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 in my calculator, I should get 24. Okay, so I've organized my data into a frequency table. Next thing I want to do is organize that into what we call our histogram, or essentially our bar graphs. Okay, now for the histogram here, I know that I am only counting 5 of the number 30, so my bars should not be connected. Okay, here you're going to generate your own scale for these. I see that my range is between 2 and 5. It's a pretty small scale, so I'm just going to count up by ones. So I'll make my frequency 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't have a number greater than 5, so I should be good to go. Okay, then I just convert my data over. I have a score of 30 and I have 5 of them. So I'm going to start down here and draw all the way up to number 5. Okay. Next one is a score of 40, and I have 2 of those, so I draw up to the line of 2. Notice that these bars are not connected because it's not an interval of data, it's just 5 scores of exactly 30. Okay? If this was a range of data, we would connect our bars. Okay. Next one is 50. I go up to 3 because I have 3 50s. Next one is 60. I go back up to 3 because I have 3 60s. 70, I have 2 70s, so I just go up to 2. I have 2 80s, so I again go up to 2. I have 3 90s, so I go up to 3. And I have 4 100s, so I go up to, I think it's right about there. Yep, 4. Okay, lost a little bit of room there on the end. But this data table, your frequency table, displays the exact same information as your histogram does. These are not that challenging mathematically, but they can be pretty tricky in making sure you are very detail-oriented on them. So make sure you do things like double count that your total here reflects your total here. Okay, here you are going to stop, pause, and practice, completing these practice problems on the front and the 2 on the back. When you are finished with practice, you are going to pick back up with the video at station 3. Okay, so this is our last and final station, our box and whisker plots. So yeah, we're going to go over the top section of these, finish the practice, and then you will be done with the quiz review. So here I'm looking to make my box and whisker plots. In order to draw those, I need to calculate 5 values. Highest value, lowest value, median, lower quartile, and upper quartile. Okay, and then I'm going to draw it down here. So we're working with this data set right here. What I always do first is I just put my numbers in order. It helps a lot with making sure we find things like the highest value, lowest value, and the median. So the first thing I do is I just put my numbers in order. Start with my lowest, that's 21. I'm going to write my numbers again in order at the top here just to make sure that I have room. So I go 21 is my lowest, then I have a 22, then a 23, 25, 28, another 28, 29, another 29, 31,